That's Just Penny here, and today is day number 2 of the 30-minute junk challenge over at the Facebook group Junk Journal Corner by That's Just Penny. Today we're going to be working on a tag mini journal using the free printables that Marcy Coat Designs has provided. So let's get started. Okay, so here I am showing you that I cut out the medium tags from Marcy Coat Designs kit that she provided, the freebie. And I'm using this ink pad that I got at a thrift shop. They were brand new, and it is real red. I've got a piece of 110-pound cardstock that I used, and I just made a little simple base for my 2 tags to fit on, a little cover, and I did put about 1/4 of an inch or so for the spine in there. I hope you can see that. Put a little bit of scored it on both sides, about 1/4 of an inch in there to give my journal a little spine. And it's considered a wraparound spine, I guess you could call it. So what I am going to do now, I'm going to take my 8.5 by 11 sheets, the printed sheets from Marcy Coat Designs kit. The kit is called Berry Pink, I believe, Berry Pink Mix, and the link to the kit is in the Facebook group, and it will be down below this video. So I am just measuring how much I need. Now I fold the paper in half like a hamburger this time, and I have scoot over on the left a little bit. I didn't include my spine. Okay, that seam, I call it seam allowance, the fold allowance. That is there for the spine. I kind of scooted it over to the left so that I wouldn't count that extra spine allowance in. Here I'm just trying to measure up to see if I can get more than 1 page out of 1 sheet of paper, but evidently I did not. So my fold is on the left, and I'm leaving that, like I said, I'm going to call it the spine allowance. I'm just scooting my template over to the left, so I don't include that because you want to make sure your papers are actually a little bit smaller all the way around so that they will fit in your journal well. Here I'm going to do our famous hot dog fold, and I have the fold on the left and the open edges on the right. This is important when you're doing your journal pages, of course. So I'm just going to stack up my pages now, not particularly in any order, but I am going to stack them up so that I can actually cut them all at one time. And I'm cutting the 2 hot dog folds that I did at one time here, and I'm cutting right on that line. Now it's very important that when you're tracing that you cut actually on the left side of your line. You can cut right on your line, but I like to actually cut on the left side, because if you cut on the right side of your line, your pages are going to stick out and they're going to be too big. Okay, so here I am just cutting now that hamburger fold that I did just to see if I could do 2 tag pages per sheet, but I cannot. So I'm going to use these little leftover short pieces, and I'm going to make sure that my fold is on the left and my open edges is on the right, because I'm going to put this into my little journal. These are my journal pages. Now, obviously, I could have done this differently, but I thought this would make a sweet little journal tag, a mini tag journal, I think I called it. But I'm going to use these pieces. I'm not going to worry about that it's shorter than the other, because it's like a little mini junk journal type thing. Of course, there's no junk in there, but it's just going to be a little journal. So then I'm going to straighten that up because I want my centerpiece to be nice and straight on the edge. And I'm just going to save my little scraps. Hang on just a second. I'm going to get my sheet protectors that I put my scraps in, and this way it allows me to keep all my printed kits, all the preview images, all the challenges on in a binder or in a ring. And I'm throwing away that little bit of trash. I don't keep everything. If it's about 1/2 inch or 1 inch, then I keep it. But other than that, it's gone. So I am just organizing the desk, getting it all together so that I can begin to actually trace my actual little pages. And I'm just putting them in order now. in the order of how I want them. So I normally like to do a big page, and then, of course, that little tiny piece will go in the middle. So here's my big page, another big page, and I'm gonna come back in, I'll show you. Okay, so there's another big page, and when I say big page, it's not the ones that was shorter. So then I'm gonna look at it, line it up, and then I'm going to stick the smaller page in there. And then I'm going to go back and put my other smaller page, kind of alternating it. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I am alternating it. And I have to remember to put my middle piece in because I like to use that to hide my strings or my knot. Okay. I wasn't going to sew or punch holes, but I decided later on that I would. So I'm going to move all of my pages down pretty close to the bottom, except for this last one. I want to kind of in the middle, which like I said, I had plans on sewing this together on the sewing machine because obviously it would do that. Here I'm just paper clipping my pages to keep, and I'm kind of tapping to get a nice crisp crease there. And I don't remember where my bone folder is, so I'm just using my scissors to just kind of give a really nice crease, not tearing the paper. But here is my little, I keep calling it seam allowance, sorry, spine allowance, and I'm making sure that my pages are going to be a little bit shorter. Make sure they're not going to stick out because you need that a little centimeters on the sides. You're going to need those. I'm just lining it up, tapping it. Then I'm going to grab some more paper clips here to actually paper clip it together while that I trace it at the top because that's a beautiful scalloped edge up there at the top. So I'm going to take a number 2 pencil. This is an sort of a artist pencil. It's a number 2, but it's black. It's real lead. It's not plastic. It's made from wood, real wood, and oak wood, I do believe. And so I'm tracing, and then I'm going to use my ordinary scissors to cut it out. And then make sure here, like I said, that you're actually going to cut on the left side of your line and not cut on the right side because these pages will stick out if you do not cut it properly. Now I'm going to show you my little tool bag, and I got these tools at the Dollar Tree. So if you're looking for a thread, the thread was at the Dollar Tree, but this is from the Dollar Tree, and it is a silicone little tip to put on when you're using hot glue. And these have come in handy. I love them. I love the color too. But when you're using a glue gun, these absolutely help. And it actually says on there that it's for I think glue gun. These are the little piercing tool and little scoring tool that I found at Dollar Tree. So I wanted to share the little haul that I did. I'm super excited because I needed both of those because all of my awls are bent. So I needed a new awl. So here we go. I'm doing just 2 in length. Normally you do 3, but for this little mini, I'm doing 2 lengths of the spine and then about an inch or so, 2 inches maybe past that, just to have enough to tie it together. And basically we're just going to thread our needle If you're interested in the needle, this is a darn yarn. It's a yarn darning needle, and it's blunt end. You can get the other ones that are sharper edge. But if you notice, I did a boo boo and I forgot that my centerpiece was there. So I said, oh well, I'm just going to glue it. Which that was another little. I did put a little bead of glue back there. You're going to see me do that, and then a little bit later on, you're going to see me actually glue that page together around my thread. So I'm going to put my little doodad on. Good, and this actually erases the hot glue. This actually removes hot glue. So I'm super excited about that. I found out that it has more uses than just keeping your finger from getting burnt. It actually will kind of act like an eraser for hot glue. So basically, this is the same thing that you do. You know, that needle is about, I think it's a 4-inch needle or 5-inch needle. They go all the way up to 12 inches. And if you're interested in finding out about those needles, Hobby Lobby has them, Walmart has them, but Hobby Lobby has the ones that go all the way up. There's all different sizes, and they go to 12 inches. Now, the 12-inch needle, of course, would be huge, but you can find these over in the needle section or of Hobby Lobby, or you can actually find them back there where the yarn and stuff is, where the macrame and all that, the yarn and macrame stuff. So it does have a blunt end. There's also plastic canvas needles that you can use as well that are real thick and sturdy, but there's also some smaller bead needles that you can get that are real long over in the bead section, and then at Walmart has them as well in the sewing section and in the bead section. So here, as you notice, I'm gluing this all the way down. Normally, I leave this as a pocket, but this is such a tiny little space. I figured that I would just glue it completely together and just have that as a base to put something on. And you'll see a little bit later on what I actually do. And here I am just erasing the glue, like I said, with that little silicone finger protector, and it absolutely works well. My finger did not get burnt, thank goodness, that day. So I'm just putting some supplies away, and I'm making sure that the journal, see, okay, so I rubbed that glue away because it was sticking to the other page. Voila. So that's a really good tip there about that. So go check out your local Dollar Tree, and I'm sure you can order. I don't know if some of you know that you can order online, Dollar Tree online. So, which is super neat, but you have to order in bulk. So now I'm deciding about distressing. So here I'm not going to talk about distressing or punching the corners. That's that's just a personal preference. Okay, now so I'm taking my paper clips and moving them out so that my pages will be straight with my cover. So when I punch my holes, now I was not going to punch holes or do anything with a needle and thread. If you have a stapler, please use it. If you use a sewing machine, just sew them together. But I have a 1/16 of an inch hole punch here that I got at Tuesday morning for like $1 or $2, and I could not pass up the deal. And I have been using this like crazy to actually sew my little signatures together. So I'm actually going to stick this in here, and I've got it about a 1/2 inch set, about a 1/2 inch up to go in about 1/2 inch deep, if that makes sense. I'm checking on both sides before I punch, and I can see my little line there. I can see my little spine. That's about a 1/2 of an inch. Little tiny slither spine. So I'm just making sure, looking down both barrels of both sides, just to make sure that I get that straight and get it on the spine where I want it and on the pages as well. Then I'm going to come around, and then I notice that because of the scalloped edge, I'm going to have to move it down to about 1 inch instead of a 1/2 inch because of the scalloped is keeping me, there's not enough clearance there from that first scallop curve. So I'm going to move it down to about 1 inch. I'm guessing, I can't really tell you. I don't know. But I'm just going to punch another hole there. And again, I'm looking to make sure that line on that tool is lined up to the middle of my spine. And then I'm also going to check the back side to make sure that it is lined up. So I did pretty well. That little tool has come in handy. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed watching me create this little tag mini journal, and I'm just putting some supplies away. So here is the finished creation. As you can see, I just kind of fast forward the embellishing and all the little elements that I put in and the distressing and things. So if you need to slow it down, you can at the little wheel on the video. You can slow it down if it's too fast for you. So don't think of that, just rewind it, slow it down. That's no problem at all. Okay, guys, so I hope you enjoy this for day number 2. Stay tuned for day number 3 coming up, and please check out the freebie from Marcy Coat Designs.